the Book Club. We do these sometimes and enjoy them sometimes. Hello, everybody. Hi, how's it going?
Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome back from PAX Ricky.
Thank you. It's a book club episode, and if you enjoy these episodes and things like that, check out patreon.com/ridiculous, where you can get all kinds of great rewards, and check out orchidate.com, where you can get all kinds of great merch, both of them linked in the description.
Love that merch.
So we
Horus
have
Rising, huh?
Horus Rising.
Horus Rising.
A book that we honestly should have read far earlier than we did. The number one most well-known, the first book of the astronomically large Horus Heresy series.
Kickstarted it all. Yeah.
Kickstarted it all. Released in 2006. By the acclaimed and accredited Dan Abnett, one of the pillars of Warhammer writing. He is also well known for the Gaunt's Ghost series.
Yep, he's done a lot for the Black Library.
He has done
so many Warhammer books, iconic Warhammer books.
Him, Aaron Dembski Ballard. There's a couple pillar folks, and yeah, I mean. The story of Horus Rising tells the story of the Luna Wolves during the Great Crusade and the beginning of it's not even the beginning of the heresy. It is, as it says in the title, the seeds of heresy are sown.
Yeah. It was funny because like go into Horus Rising, I didn't read a synopsis or a summary or anything. I just went in totally blind. As the kids say, I was raw dogging it. And like you see the title Horus Rising, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be like, maybe this is like how Horus like rises to like war. Oh, why am I drawing a blank?
Warmaster.
Warmaster. For some reason I was like Warsmith. No, Warmaster, and I was like, oh, maybe this is like his ascent to that. Nope. It's mostly a Garvia Loken book until like the last 25% of the book. Then it's like, oh, that's why it's called Horus Rising. Got it.
Yeah, it's definitely it did not take the path I thought it was going to. But before we get too into that, initial impressions.
Oh, I loved it. I was quite happy with the book. It was pretty constant, interesting stuff happening. Not a lot of like lulls, not a lot of like low points where they're just like meandering on the ship doing nothing of importance. Yeah, I am satisfied and would highly recommend. I'd give it like 8.5.
Yeah, I think I'm in roughly the same agreement. The first half of the book flew by at a breakneck speed. The first 6 hours of the book I listened to in like a day, and I was like, oh my god, I'm halfway done.
Yeah, it flies by. It's just constant action.
I think it is definitely one of the best. It's one of the best written 40K books, and we're not beating the allegations of 30K Space Marines have so much more personality than 40K Space Marines, especially after beating a certain video games campaign recently.
We'll get into that at some point, I'm sure.
But wow, it was so cool to like just listen to Space Marines have actual personality and lots of it. Torgodon, for example, is such a little shitter.
Oh, yeah. And he's always the one that's like kind of lightening the mood, like when things get just a little too tense, right? That's him, or is it the other one?
Yep, that's the one. Because
cool.
So the main characters of the book, that Horus is around a decent amount, but there's not a ton of Horus.
He kind of makes cameos here and there. Like he shows up when he needs to, but like it's not the Horus-centric book I thought it was going to be.
No, this is a Gavriel Loken book.
100%.
And I love Gavriel Loken. He is such a cool guy. He's a very human Space Marine, which is kind of, I think, part of the whole shtick is that he's very human. He has very human thoughts and worries and wants. And interspliced between him is the discussions with the remembrancers, which are like journalists, artists, documentarians, all of them.
Like the name suggests, they're there to remember what happened, and journalists,
which
sure,
adds a very good human element to the actual story as well, which is good because it's always a really great way to not translate, but basically like have that dichotomy between more human elements and more Astartes elements.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the main bits, and it really just kind of tells the story of Garviel Loken and the Luna Wolves dealing with Great Crusade stuff, but also dealing with concepts of brotherhood and a new position. The Horus has a group known as the Mournival, which are his close
advisors, I guess.
Yeah, close advisors, and one of them has recently died, and so Garviel Loken, for his humanity and willingness to ask questions about morals, a rarity in Space Marines, was chosen to take over the place, along with the other three, which were this fucking bugs me. There's an Imperial there's an Imperial Fist character that you can buy, like a model called Tor Garadon.
Oh no.
And it throws me so often.
Oh yeah, I can see how that would. If you know about Tor Garadon and you're trying to think Torgaren. Yeah. You all know who we're talking about. You've read the book.
Yeah, so he's the one who brings in lots of levity. You've got I forget what's his name again? Little Horus.
Oh, Vipus? Vipers?
No, not Vipus. I think it starts with an A.
I can't remember. You're right, because they just call him Little Horus all the time. Yeah. And like they just call him Horus, and I'm just like, oh yeah, that's Little Horus. What was his name?
It's like similar to Anthrax, but it's like not Anthrax.
Well, he's Little Horus.
Yeah, Little Horus.
Little Horus.
Little Horus was a bit more of like a bit more stern. And then of course you've got you know how we always used to call him Isekyle? I feel bad about this now.
Yeah, old Abby.
Yep, you get Ezekiel Abaddon.
Yep, you do. I don't know why it like shocked me a bit at first when I was like, they're like, oh yeah, hey Abaddon, and I was like, Abaddon, and it's like, oh yeah, he would be in the Luna Wolves right about now, wouldn't he? And he would be a loyalist right now, and it's like, oh yeah, he's not going to be throwing Blackstone fortresses at Cadia for a while.
No, and I mean, granted, he's still definitely a bit of a warmonger in the book, but he's especially at the end. But he's pretty fun still, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he still has levity. He still like makes jokes and talks about fun things.
Yeah, it's a stark contrast from the Abaddon that I grew up knowing.
Yes, very stark contrast.
A little different.
But yeah, I mean, it really just kind of goes through the day-to-day actions of the Great Crusade and some of the more difficult mental aspects of Garviel and the things that he's like doing and learning. And and it's just like the slow, not corruption, but like the mental difficulties of everything going on, you know?
He is supposed to be a Naismith. They want him to ask questions. They want him to be like the counterpoint. So yeah,
every
conversation
with that one guy, his little tutor mentor, so not Sedonis, but like their names they all blur.
Yeah, they really do all just blur. Aside from like the main characters, it's a blur of T's and S's and Gerdons and Barlobons and Abaddons and yeah.
Yeah, but all those conversations where we like talked about like books and the Naismith thing was really, really good. It's just really impressive to see Space Marines have such a wealth of character to them that I never see in 40K Space Marines. I mean, with exception like Dante and stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I really liked the book. It was paced really well.
Yeah, and a lot happens. Like, they go through quite a bit. I mean, Horus slays the Emperor in the beginning, which I was like, nice. It's tongue-in-cheek. Nice. I see what you did there. You set me up, and then you hit me with it was a diverted punchline. I was like, okay, all right.
I will say that I'm a little surprised how much 40K knowledge I needed to really appreciate this book. I thought it would be a bit more new person friendly.
True. I guess this would be more suited to someone that kind of knows a little bit about 40K. Like, I guess you could read it with no knowledge and you'd probably be okay. But, like, to really, like, give it that kind of chef's kiss, you kind of would need a little bit.
There's a lot of things in there that would be lost on you. Like, for the example, in the beginning, I was there when Horus slew the Emperor. And, the whole joke of that is that they're sending a world into compliance, but they have their own version of the Emperor, who's like a false Emperor. But even he has a golden throne that he sits upon that Horus shoots in the chest and kills. And it's like, okay, there's all of that lovely...
There's the foreshadowing.
Yeah, there's all the foreshadowing. There's all that stuff going on there. But that would be lost on you.
True.
If you didn't fully understand the context.
True. But, I mean, to be fair, if you were reading it from Horus Rising and you were just going through all of the Horus Heresy books, like, then that's your only one. By the time you get to Horus, like, actually slaying the Emperor, you're like, oh my God. That was from Horus Rising. Oh my God, they were foreshadowing me, and you could.
You mean in 5 years when when you finish all 56 books or whatever it is?
Yeah, I guess it would take you like 6 years to get the revelation, but it would, maybe.
Yeah, I guess I always assume that like Horus Rising is a really good starter book for people to get into the world. And it is in some aspects. Like Garviel Loken is a really good character and you can understand that stuff. And in the most part, the entire book is mainly about the thinking process of it all. And that like those morals and stuff. And that's where I think new people can get really into it. But at the same time, you kind of like, there's a lot that you won't understand. Like there's a lot of terminology you need to get.
Yeah, there would be a little bit that flies over your head. That's fair.
What were your thoughts on the part when the Remembrancer goes into like the bar in the beginning and like just like acts a fool of himself and gets nearly beat to death? I thought he actually did die and then they brought him back.
Yeah, he got whooped. I mean, he's a Remembrancer. They gotta let off steam, and it's.
No, they gotta let off steam and then go into a bar with soldiers and be like, the Imperium will fall. Everything we worked for will die.
Yeah, I mean, hey, he got drunk. He didn't know what he was doing, and it happens. It happens.
It does happen. That is very true.
It's realistic. We've all seen that guy.
I really liked that part. I don't know what it was specifically, but I found that part really, really good because I was like constantly tense. I was like, this guy's going to get his shit kicked. Like there's going to be some locals around there that aren't going to take to him kindly and they're going to just kill him. And they didn't until it was the Imperium that did it.
And of course the Imperium would do it.
Well, come to think of it, that kind of is a great setup for it all because I was a little bit. It almost makes me like just. I'm so shocked that there's some people in like the community that like I think that the Imperium are good dudes, because like it opens up and it's just like this. We are right and you are wrong, and we need to teach you why you are so wrong, and then they just. Like bury this world.
Yeah, and that's like the whole like debate of just like even the false emperor's like, couldn't you have just left us alone? Like you didn't have to stop here. You could have just let us be. Like we basically more or less believe the same thing you do. We wouldn't be you could have just left us alone. And then they have like the whole justification. No, actually we couldn't. The emperor says we're right. We know we're right, and we're going to show them why they're wrong. We're right.
Literally, Garviel Loken decides to do what a normal person would do and be like, "Damn, maybe we should why couldn't we leave him alone?" And then his mentor is like, "Well, you see, if a drowning child tries to push you away because he's scared of you, will you still save him and stuff?" And you're just like, "Oh my God."
Yeah, the drowning child metaphor of like, oh well, if he doesn't want to be saved, you still got to save him even if he doesn't want it. And it's like, Wow, that's an awkward way to justify genocide, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild. I mean, I guess they didn't genocide them technically. They kept
true.
They just took over the planet,
integrated them into the empire, right?
It was
Imperium.
Yeah, Imperium. It was humorous seeing that because like they really don't hold any punches there. They give you the entire idea of just, hey, yeah, like we know we're right because and because we're right, we know the truth is also amoral. So it's like the good of everyone for you to for us to take you over because it's the truth. And I'm just like, holy, they are not holding any punches. Like they are being clear and obvious. Like these are your protagonists, but they are not great.
Are we the baddies?
Hans?
Are we the baddies? Yes, they are indeed the baddies.
It's pretty wild how much they got to that point, right?
Yeah, they make it very clear that like, yeah, the Imperium is just going to take you over because they think they're right and they don't care what you think. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's and then that's kind of the struggle for a lot of it, right? Was the discussion of that whole thing back and forth. We got some interesting cameos in this one. We got Lucius the Eternal from.
Oh yeah, Lucius. I was like, man, it's interesting seeing him not as a weird demon with laughing armor face.
Yeah, he's just the good swordsman, Lucius.
Yeah, the great swordsman. He's like untouchable with the sword. Well, until Loken just.
It was really
punches him in the face.
It was lovely watching, listening to that. It was just like Lucius is like, on guard, and then Loki just punches him dead in the throat or whatever. Yeah. Like, all right, that's fair.
Well, that's what happens, buddy. That's why the Luna Wolves are better. Because boom.
You get some Sanguinius, who's a great time. You get some Dorn, who's very funny.
Yep, and also, oh man, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but God. Erebus, you son of a bitch. Oh my God. Does he ever just
Erebus ruins everything.
Everything. What is that guy's problem?
We know his problem.
Yeah, we do.
He's just a bad egg.
He spoils the bunch. He is the bad apple that literally spoils the bunch.
Yeah, he's a rough one.
Oh. If only Karn could have killed him.
He got his hands.
He did. Ugh.
I did like Erebus. Well, he didn't have any real spots in the thing, but the entire I was actually a little bit curious because the book is relatively unorthodox. And I say that because for the most part it is. How do I put this? Like whenever it comes down to a normal book or story setup, I guess is the phrase.
Okay.
So there's a thing called there's acts. There's 3 acts, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And there's always a thing called the second act low point, and there's the climax, and then there's the falling action, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
It didn't really follow that structure much.
Yeah, it kind of didn't.
It was really light. Like there wasn't a second act low point really.
No, there was there weren't a ton of low points, or at least the low points didn't seem low. Like it felt like it was a pretty steady incline, just always going up until
Yeah, to the whole thing.
Interrex.
Yeah, thoughts on the Interrex?
I had never heard of the Interrex before. They seemed...
That is a lie.
Wait, have we talked about them?
Of course we did. I told you how Horus turned to chaos, but
Sure.
I understand you not remembering the specifics.
Oh, okay. So you told me that Erebus got the chaos thing, the chaos dagger from the Interrex people, and...
Yeah, I told you the whole thing. Okay. I mean, this was a while ago, but... I
didn't remember what they were like, and how they had Sagittarius people, and how they knew about chaos, and how they were very wary of the Imperium because they might be bringing chaos. And what, Garviel, what do you mean you don't know what chaos is? What do you mean you don't know what's in the warp? Really? It's just interesting.
No, I mean I don't think I told about that specific part about the various kinds of people and their like.
Oh yeah.
And that
but
kind
you
of
have
thing.
told me about the Interrex. Yeah.
Yes, more just about the Interrex in general. That said, I found the Interrex to be really fascinating, and when Garvey was having that conversation with the guard about chaos, I felt like profoundly sad. And it's like, oh man, I know what's coming up.
Yeah.
This isn't going to work out well for anybody right now.
No. You knew that was kind of just like, oh boy, like you're just waiting for the other foot to drop, and it's just, oh no. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And it was a really good just general conversation, which was a ton of fun with that whole thing. And I loved listening to it. But I knew, because I knew what the Interrex was, I knew what was going to happen, but I wasn't quite sure when. And it's really playing on Horus's brain too. You know, the dude's struggling.
Oh, he is struggling mightily with his new position, and like he doesn't want to just like obliterate people. He wants to come to an understanding. He wants to talk to them. He doesn't just want to mindlessly subjugate, and like all of his Mournval, like no. We gotta just the Emperor would do this, and he's like, no, I'm supposed to decide that. That's why the Emperor made me war. It is a big conflict between like what he thinks he should do and what the Mournval thinks he should do.
Yeah. It really kind of, because like Abaddon especially was like, just kill them all, brother. Like,
swipe them off the face of the earth. We're right there wrong. Screw them.
What are we doing? They're brokering peace with aliens? What do you mean?
Right?
Kill them
the
all.
Xenos, we do not suffer the Xenos. And it's like, oh, brother. Gee, I probably didn't take much to get you to turn to chaos.
I think what really got me was the fact that, I don't know, like I didn't expect them to be so apparent about it. I'm shocked at how much the subtle, like not even subtlety, like how much this has been lost on people about like, God damn, the Imperium just like, the Great Crusade was just a pure conquering, everything must die type thing. It's literally join us or burn. Often burn if you're an alien, it's just burn. I'm like, they were so direct about it.
Yeah, and it's like the only reason they didn't just burn the Interrex to the ground is because Horus. So it's like when you think about like all the other chapters that don't have like a Horus, it's just like, oh yeah, we stumbled upon Xenos. You're dying.
Yeah.
No discussion. Like, whoa. Like, because Horus is like level-minded. He's the best one. So it's like every other chapter is probably just like, nah, we're raising that to the ground.
Like, can you imagine if you're like Perturabo? You're like part of the Iron Warriors? It's like, no way, dude. Gone.
Nope.
It's
scorched earth.
Genuinely crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I was just so surprised that it was so darn obvious about it. Like,
they were like very blunt about it.
Very
no
blunt,
hiding
like,
at all.
The Great Crusade and the Luna Wolves are bad. Like they're bastards, but they're bastards made up of really interesting people more than anything. And at least Loken is there being like, hey, maybe we don't have to, genocide the whole planet. Maybe we could talk to him. And then his guy is like, well, let's talk about why genocide is the right call.
And then his mentor's like, no, you're wrong. Genocide always the right choice.
Yeah, you know what's the most saddening, honestly, after reading this?
What's that?
There's no Garviel Loken character in 40K.
Yeah, I was going to say...
when that's going to happen, because he ain't sticking around.
I wasn't sure if it was going to happen in this book or not. Like, I wasn't sure if that was going to be, like, the big twist at the end. Because I was like, man, it's entirely possible that we have not gotten to a point in Adeptus Ridiculous where Bricky has told me about Garviel Loken. But I haven't heard of him. I haven't heard anybody talk of him. This man is not long for post. I don't know if he makes it past the heresy, and I don't know when it's going to happen, but I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't know much about Garviel Loken initially because Garvio Loken is a character specifically based around these Horus Heresy books and the like. But for the most part, it's one of those things that I'm assuming that because the first three or four books, I think it's the first trilogy. I think it's trilogy. I think it goes. Oh crap! I think it's Horus Rising, False Gods, and then Galaxy in Flames. I think is how it goes.
Yeah, I know. What happens in Galaxy in Flames?
Apparently, Galaxy in Flames is not super well written, which is unfortunate. Or at least I'm heard that like the trilogy does not stick with as good as the opening is. But even with that, I'm very much in the like, oh no. Well, I don't think Garvio's making it out of this trilogy, so we're gonna find out.
Yeah, this is probably like the Garvio Loken trilogy of the Horus Heresy, right?
Yeah, so like that's kind of how I'm seeing it. But yeah, I'm thinking he's not gonna stick. I mean,
yeah,
we know for a fact one person is sticking around. That's Abaddon.
Abaddon's gonna be around for a while.
Abaddon will be around.
To be fair, we also know Horus isn't gonna make it.
Well, technically true, but we got 50 books to get there, so it's okay, I guess.
Yeah. Also, I was going to ask you, what the hell was Samus exactly?
Samus Aran from Metroid Prime.
Yeah, well, because I wasn't sure. Like, it seemed kind of like a chaos demon. It seemed kind of like Tzeentch pilled to me, but I wasn't sure if that was just a demon, like a greater demon of Tzeentch or something that I just hadn't heard about, didn't recognize, or if it was something else. Is that like because it was always like whispering in people's ears, and I was like, that seems like a Tzeentch thing. That seems like some sort of greater demon of Tzeentch.
So I originally thought it was a greater demon of Slanesh, but I think I got my name wrong. Unfortunately, Samus is I believe it's a demon. Well, it's a demon, obviously. I think it's a demon prince. Maybe I don't know what demon prince it is or anything like that. The long and short of it is that it doesn't necessarily matter. It's a demon. I think it's a powerful demon, but it's a demon. And that whole part with the Samus thing was really unnerving. It was great.
Yeah, it was really creepy.
Yeah.
With it just whispering in their ears and then taking over, was it
I forget his name. All the names are the same. Jabal? Oh, that sounds right.
Or was Jabal the one that died in the beginning to the Invisibles?
I don't remember anymore.
Well, anyway, yeah, he takes over like the Space Marine body, and then he just, and then they think they've killed it, and it just, kills the remembrancer and everything, and yeah.
That was that whole Samus bit was really neat. It was one of the better parts of the game, 100%. Liked it a lot, and it was just super. I don't know, just super creepy, and like I forgot Toby Longworth was the VA for this, and he did all the Gaunt's Ghost books as well. He's up there with one of the higher level people, and I liked him a lot. He was really, really good. His voice acting
setting for like a Space Marine horror game.
Yeah, the whispering and stuff was like genuinely unnerving. I was like, holy, that dude is this close to the microphone. It was really nice.
Samus is all, it's the man next to you.
Yeah, it was great. Genuinely great. I feel like a little bit of the horror was lost on me, though, because I know what demons are.
True. This would have been a great spot for someone that doesn't know anything about 40K to learn, like, here's what demons do in 40K.
Yeah,
and you need the craziness. Yeah,
you need to have a little bit of I know what a demon is, so I know what's going on. But if someone didn't know what a demon is, this would be genuinely like probably
horrifying,
absolutely terrifying.
Yep,
especially for people so big and so like crazy powerful as the Astartes are.
Yeah, like when it takes out a Space Marine, several Space Marines, it's like, okay.
Oh yeah, corrupts one first and then goes from there.
Yep.
Yeah. I think the only part that I was a little bit I think the book for its most part is all really good and extremely well paced. If I had to, I'd argue that the only part that was a little slow was like the spider dudes and the Emperor's
the
children.
Megarachnids. Yeah,
Emperor's children guys fighting the spider guys. I think it was a little slow.
Yeah, that part seemed to drag a little bit.
That was the only bit. I think my issue is that I also just don't think combat is really good in books. I have a hard time enjoying combat in books, and the only reason it would ever get like interesting, the combat, is not being sure if the character that is in the combat will live.
Mm-hmm. Or sometimes the combat gets like a little too, like, they make it a little too wordy and a little bit hard to understand, and it kind of just starts blurring, and it's just kind of like, sometimes I kind of just zone out of the combat talk, because it's like, oh, yep, they're fighting, he's doing a spiffy move, all right, I'm sure. Is he dead yet? No? Okay.
Yeah, that's the issue I run into with that. I also run into it, like, it was in the Lion Son of the Forest book that I think did combat some of the best, because there was at least like a point to a lot of it. You know, there was him fighting off like the obliterators, and then he like gets like his sword, and then it's kind of like, oh, what ailment is hitting me? Is like, you're just old, bro.
You're just old, bro. Yeah.
There's that stuff. But I remember that in the beginning of the Lion book, he fought the two like giant beasts, and that was the part that I thought was kind of boring. I was like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. So there's a little bit of that, and for some of the combat bits, it's a little slow. But then, you know, combat can be really good if it has the emotional weight to it. And him fighting that one guard at the end that he was chatting with was like, it's like, no, don't kill him. I'm sure it's like, fine.
Stop. Yeah, stop fighting. It's apparently a misunderstanding, I guess.
So, except it isn't. Erebus actually did steal stuff and burn it down.
Actually stole it. Yeah.
Erebus, you ruins everything.
Everything.
Absolutely everything.
Although back to the Megarachnid thing, that ended very abruptly. It was just like, oh yeah, Sanguinius showed up, they warred for 6 months, and everything's fine. And it's like, oh.
I thought the Interrex showed up.
Oh yeah, the Interrex showed up, and we're like, oh yeah, sorry guys, the beacon was a warning. But yeah, doesn't Sanguinius show up and like help them like?
Yeah, Sanguinius shows up because his blood angels were there, and and then Sanguinius arrives and says like the most like sad boy shit I've ever heard. Which is when he's getting ready for like a funeral, and they're gonna paint like ceremonial tears on him, and he's like, "Do not worry, I have real tears." And I'm just like, "Oh my god!" Okay,
all right, Sanguinius, all right.
The line goes a little hard, but it also made me giggle a bit.
I agree. It did.
Oh hey, there's actually a model for Samus.
Oh really?
Yeah. Oh, that's old.
Oh no!
Oh, that's old.
Oh no!
Hold on!
Oh no!
Demon Prince of the Ruin Storm.
Ruin Storm. Oh,
here they are.
Oh,
yeah. Ooh, it's all right. It doesn't really matter. It's out of stock anyway, like everything else.
Of course. That's a Horus Heresy model. Sure.
But yeah, the entirety of. The entirety of the Interrex stuff at the end, I was a little shocked because they arrived at like an hour 30 in, and I'm like, damn, that this much left? Like, this is a big deal.
Yeah, although I gotta be honest, it seemed like the Interrex stuff like went by way too quick almost. Like, I wanted more.
I agreed.
Like, with the Interrex.
I was super invested, and like at the end of it, they were just like, no, we have warred with the Interrex for 6 months, and we sent a thing, but we're gonna like kind of bail now. And I'm like, damn, that's it? Like...
Yeah, that's it. Like, man, they were so interesting with like the, you know, and was it Horus that was like, oh yeah, you know, my dad said I was most like Sagittarius because everybody loved him, and oh look, there's Sagittarius people here. Oh my god, it's all coming full circle, and I was like, okay, I'm getting invested, and then it's like, boom, Erebus does his bullshittery, and then Interrex gone. It's like, oh,
yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, it's there's a couple of moments like that. I think that's the reason it keeps it from being like a top 10 book.
Like
I think.
It stops it from being like a 10 out of 10 or like a 9 or something.
Yeah, I probably put this as like there was a tier list, I'd probably put this in like high A.
Yeah,
honestly, it's
not quite S, but it's close.
It's a really good book. I was just genuinely impressed how quickly it went by, and I just. especially after playing a certain video game. And I'm just so
playing a certain video game while listening to it. You were really 40K invested, huh?
No. I mean, like the characters of the certain video game were just not as good as the others.
Oh, okay.
Like I was thinking, like, damn, these 30K Space Marines have such a plethora of stuff to them. Like, they're so interesting.
Yeah, it like it almost makes the 40K Space Marines seem just so deadpan sometimes.
It really does. I like, oh, look, like Shy is suggesting that we do an episode next week on like our discussions on the new video game, and I am my one of my biggest things was like, man, I hope you really like people saying "death to the Xenos" and for the Emperor
courage by honor,
courage by honor, like for like a good 10 hours straight. There is no other dialogue besides that.
Yeah, they're like they very rarely are joking around. It's just they're very deadpan, and it's just like, oh man. And it's like in contrast to this, they're like joking around. They have a brotherhood. They have pseudo illegal warrior lounges that they just get around in and just have like brews and joke around, and everybody's equal and everybody's cool. And it's like, man, they're just like they're bros. They're humans. Like, you can relate to like the Mournval and like the Luna Wolves, and it's like I can't super relate to like hoity-toity Ultramarines that well.
Yeah, it makes it difficult, and I'm wondering how much of that is just, you know, I mean, we know what happens to the Space Marines. They all become zealots at some point, and they all become crazed religious zealots, and that partially, I'm assuming, is half the reason why they lose a lot of personalities, because they turn that way.
But after an event like that, it does kind of like dehumanize you a little bit, right? So
yeah, but like at this, damn though, you know, I was really, I really liked Loken. I really liked a lot of these characters, and I loved listening to them, and now, you know. Now it's not. You know. Now I'm just like, oh man, I wish I could keep that going.
Yeah, but they're setting up the tragedy. When that tragedy hits, it's yeah. I guess that's the other good part about them being so human is like it. If you know anything about 40K, like it's like, oh man, this is so cool. I relate to these guys and I like them so much. But in the back of your brain, you're like, oh no. Oh no! Oh god! It's gonna be awful. It's gonna be awful for all these characters I love.
Yeah, I'm there, and I'm waiting for Garvio Loken's end, and I'm hoping it's at least good, but maybe it won't be. I don't know.
Oh man! I mean, although with how much Loken likes Horus and everything, maybe it's better that he doesn't, you know, get to see Horus turn traitor and betray the Imperium.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe it's better that he doesn't make it, because, you know,
I think
seeing Horus turn traitor would kill him.
Yeah, I really like a lot of the Remembrancer stuff, though. Just because like there's not much to talk about with that at the moment, but they were really good and really enjoyable, and I liked it a lot. So I want to like kind of bow tie that a little bit and be like, you know. Yeah. I forget the name of the lady already because all their names are blending together for me.
Yeah, every Remembrancer just became like Keeler or something. I think that was one. Yeah, they all became like the same person to me. I don't know. And Garvia Loken's personal remembrancer, turns out she's worshiping the Emperor as a god like she's not supposed to.
Yeah, she's got her secret, like Tivio Divinatus.
Yeah, she's got her little shrine.
Lorgar! There he goes again.
Mm-hmm. Also ruining everything.
Lorgar. I mean, Erebus and Lorgar, I guess.
Two peas in a pod, right?
They're two peas in a pod, I guess, yeah.
They're those word bearers. You never trust a word bearer.
Never trust a word bearer. Except unless it's Argel Tall.
Oh, yeah, but well, he's dead, so yeah, it's just
not yet.
Oh, that's true. In Horus Rising, he wouldn't be dead. You're right. Argel Tall, you can always trust him. He's a bro.
Yeah, what a guy. Well, I don't know about bro, but yeah.
Well, it's as good as you're gonna get.
It is really, honestly, yeah. Anyway, recommendation, yeah?
Oh, 100%. Like, if you are invested in 40K at all, I feel like this is almost a must read.
Yeah. We definitely should have read this earlier. 100%.
Yeah, agreed.
Definitely should have read it earlier. Happy to read it. Next book, should we just do the next one?
Sure. Should we just keep doing these until Loken's untimely demise?
I think that might be the case. The next one would indeed be False Gods.
False Gods. So it shall be.
Yes, so it starts off Horus Rising by Dan Abnett, False Gods by Graham McNeil, and then Galaxy in Flames by Ben Counter. I'm familiar with Graham McNeil. I'm not familiar with Ben Counter, but he has apparently done a couple of these books. But yeah, most of the ones I'm seeing are Dan Abnett, Graham McNeil, and Aaron Dembski-Bowden. So,
okay.
We'll
real quick.
Yes.
At the end of the book, when Loken was like, "Oh yeah, we're just gonna make a quick stop off at Davin," did a cold shiver go down your spine? We're just gonna make a stop off at Davin. It'll be fun. We'll be there for 2 minutes, maybe. It'll be easy. And I was like, ooh,
yeah. Oh, Davin.
Oh, no, Loken, don't go.
So, yeah. Davin is where it all happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's where Horus gets shanked. It's the whole nine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the start of the downfall. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Good luck indeed. We'll see how it turns out.
We know how it's going to turn out.
Yeah, but we'll see how it turns out with how it turns out. All the minutia,
all the detail. Yeah. Fair enough.
That's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, read Horus Rising. It's very good. Highly would recommend. Great book. Give it a shout. All the lovely bits.
All right. Yep. Give it a shout. Give it a read. Leave your feedback in the comments. I don't know.
Yeah, do whatever. And then check out False Gods once that one is complete.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
And we'll get back to you in 3 to 6 months.
We'll get back to you at some point.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you again for the next Horus Heresy book.
Indeed. All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next time for Gavriel Loken's long, prosperous life.
Oh, don't say it like that.